Now there's a few roles in FM that a lot of us think that looks nice, but we never use them. And probably top of the list is this bad boy. But first things first, I need to learn how to say it.
Enganche. Enganche.
So then, the
Enganche.
Enganche is one of those roles in the number 10 slot. Attacker midfielder, advanced playmaker, Trek, shadow striker all get used a heap, but this one, for whatever reason, does not. Now most people, if they're using a number 10 in this slot here, they'll probably go with a shadow striker, maybe an attacking midfielder. Now and again, very rarely you'll see a trequartista in there, and quite often it's an advanced playmaker. More traditional roles. But we ain't seeing, hardly ever, the Enganche. So in today's video here on the manager's seat, this is what we're going to cover. We'll go into the role, explain it a bit and simplify things. We're going to show you the formation we're going to use for the little experiment. We'll have a look at the in-match positioning, where he stands on the pitch, what positions he moves into, the player data report, so we'll get those all-important stats. And we're going to have a quick look at some other formations we could potentially slot the role into. Right, first up, let's have a look what the game says about the Enganche. You can see his player instructions there: take more risks, dribble less and hold position. Those last two, in fact all three, are key. The sides prime create a hook, which is what I think it's roughly translated from Spanish into, that joins the midfield and attacks and operates in behind the striker. So that's the only place you can have this guy on the pitch. He's a key playmaker, but he sticks to his position more like a pivot, and players move around him. So where the trequartista will bob here, there and everywhere, that Enganche, if I keep saying it, we might say it right, he sticks where he is. So this zone here is where he's going to stay. You won't see him here and drifting or dropping way back. He's always going to be somewhere like that. That is the thinking man's role, isn't it? Basically, you sit there chilling, getting the ball, not doing any tracking back. The formation for this experiment is going to be this to start with, I think. 4-3-1-2. It's a narrow formation that works well in FM. We're going to use Atletico Madrid as well, because to be honest, they have a few candidates for this role in here. At the minute, I've got João Felix sat in there, but Griezmann could pop in there. Correa, any of those. Kuna on the bench, Rodrigo. They've got so many players that can play there. We're going to focus on Felix first, though. There is João Felix. Now, he should be perfect for the role. Let me highlight it. There you can see. Now what it takes off straight away is, if we look down his mentals, work rate is not a factor. Of course it's not. Neither is defensive positioning there, because he's not going to be moving. If you look at his physicals down there, he's not going to lead a boatload of strength, for example, or jumping reach. Natural fitness is a bonus. Agility, yes. I'm surprised balance isn't a big one, because you are in that slot there and everything is supposed to be going through you. But as you can see by his attributes there, he should be the ideal candidate for this role. Will this formation dominate the league? I'm not so sure, but all I'm doing it for, and why some of these roles have been put there, is to get the best out of the Enganche. So Koke is on a central midfield attack. He's going to be bombing past him, so he's got an option there, along with a wing back on support. On the other side of him, he's going to have Mazzala making runs, alongside a really attacking wing back. Now in front of him there, you've got two advanced forwards, and that is just movement. If it was a poacher, he'd be sticking where he is, but I want movement for this guy to have options to supply. So they're going to be out wide, they're going to be running in, they're going to be breaking the lines. Lots of options for this fella, fingers crossed, to flourish. So if you're thinking about an Enganche for yourself, just think about the bling bling attributes, things like flair, decisions, passing, dribbling, all that sort of jazz. Don't worry too much about the grafter teamwork kind of stuff. So I've holidayed through the pre-season, and unspectacular, but there's potential. You can see down the side there, we drew against Liverpool, Villa away, Real San Sebastian, but we've lost against Lazio. A closer look shows that we weren't creating much. So we tweaked the tactic a bit, there you can see. And the main reason I've done that for is, the next game we're going to do is the Barcelona game away. So we need to try things, right? Let's have a look and we'll see what Mr. Felix here, right there, this man, let's see what he can do. After getting set up for that, I just realised this is the updated player database, and Griezmann is at Barca, so we've replaced him with Morata. We're going to fly into 2D and we're going to have a look at what positions Mr. Felix takes up in this match. Early signs, dead interesting. Let me just pause it up there and I'll just focus on João Felix there. He's number 7. So this sort of area here, this square, in theory, he shouldn't really move out of it. So let's see as it plays on. It's 26 minutes in or so. The Sancho gets it. Let's click on Felix. There he is. Now look at him in that centre there. He isn't moving, is he? He's right in that square, just in line, pretty much in line with the centre circle there. That's basically his sort of area as it plays on. He still sticks in there, not even moving. Interesting. As we come up to half-time, he's had plenty of the ball. You can see he's had 25 passes, but he's only completed 60%. Now, I have got him taking more risks and more direct passing, and that's probably affected his 6.3 there. So what I'm going to do for the second half is take off the more direct passing and just let him pop it around and see if that affects things. Into the second half we go. You can see there's Felix. He doesn't do much closing down, but still in that area there, in the middle, quite hard to pick up because he does float around. So his only movement is basically in those sort of areas there. As we play it on, the Atletico Madrid players all look to him, so he is the hook. So a quick ball in, then a quick layoff. As we play it on, you can see he's still in that number 10 slot, so he's still going to make attacking movements. As he's found, in he goes and he slots it away. This is the dream start. It's a lovely finish. You can see there, in that slot there, he's going to be a danger. And if the opposition don't have a defensive midfielder, this role could be lethal. Cracking highlight here. So remember what we said about this role. If you're looking for lateral movement in behind, around the sides there, this is not the one. If you're looking for your movement to take place within the confines of this sort of area, this line here, straight down the middle, this could be a sleeper role, this. As we play this on, look at Felix. He's not interested. He's not interested when it goes wide. He is looking for the ball to feet, but when there's a gap there, he explodes into life. Lovely. At the minute, watching this, he looks like a more withdrawn shadow striker. What I mean by that is shadow striker, the attacking midfielder, advanced playmaker, they all do movements laterally and go wide, whereas this role just seems to focus thoroughly going down the middle. So we take down that match 2-0, so the formation's pretty solid, but did it get the best out of that Enganche? We're going to go to analytical data and up here to teams, then we get this screen here. Now this is going to show us the movement and positioning that Felix did. So team-wise with the ball, you can see he's in that area there, quite advanced. When he doesn't have the ball, he drops slightly deeper. No big surprises there. What about when we focus purely on him? This is under the player tab of the analysis section. So remember that Enganche is supposed to be the primary hook for the team. So if we go up here to shots and then passes, and then this will come up. We have a section across here. I want to look at this one here, passes received. So where he's picking the ball up, we'll go down to João Felix and we'll press this in here. Passes received, bang. That's where he's getting the ball in the first half. You can see there down here I've got 0 to 45. Pretty much all over the pitch, but in this central area there, he's not out wide at all, is he? Now if we go to the second half, same gig. The widest he gets is there, but invariably it's all down the middle. The full match will look something like this. There you go. Exactly that. He works within the confines of 18-yard box to 18-yard box. The first thoughts I'm getting when I see this and how centrally plays are, if I come up against a team that doesn't have an anchorman, a defensive midfielder, I'm going to try this role because there should be all that space for him to play with. 9 games in for Atletico, going really well, sitting top of the league. Let's see how Mr. Felix has done. Now he's actually been injured, so he's been coming off the bench a little bit, but from his 8 total games, he has scored twice with 3 assists. Pretty decent. If we go over here to form, down to the clutch of games as an Enganche, you'll see plenty of passes, key passes coming in as well. Good average ratings, he's getting there, definitely getting there in an unfamiliar role. Interestingly, while he was injured, Griezmann took over, and loads of people have problems with Griezmann in FM. Have we found his position? If you look here, this clutch of games here as an Enganche, his average ratings have been pretty solid other than one game there against Villarreal, but all the others really good. Lots of key passes as well. When we actually look at him, his role is pretty suited, you know, to an Enganche as well, with some nice traits that will go in well. That could be an option. We'll play him now for the next 5 or 6 and we'll see how the team does. So top of the league by a whopping 7 points. They're doing great, and in the Champions League they've got through as well, only losing to Liverpool I think, so it's going well there. Some big results. That Lille game is very impressive, a big 5-0, but one thing does stand out, and Griezmann has struggled in the role. He's been playing this role for quite a bit now, and without goals and without assists, so it's not what we need. There's plenty of passes, so he's linking the play up nicely. 84 there against Espanyol, 50s, coming off the bench, but it's not exactly what we're after. It's a real tough one this, because we've got great players playing that role to mix success. Nothing consistent. The team's playing great, My question is, if I change that role to something else, would they be as good? I'm not sure. Does it link the play up that well? It's just one of those roles that's just a little bit unspectacular. Formations for it. Now, after watching it, I would pretty much say any formation where you have runners going past him and providing the movement will work, such as this one. You're going to have runners from midfield, you're going to have your inverted wing backs and movement from your strikers. I see no issue with a classic 4-2-3-1 working as well, movement all over the place. Similar story with a 4-4-1-1, 4-4-2 variation. My main findings from all this are that it's a very niche role and I personally wouldn't start with it. When I would bring it in, however, is if we're against a team that doesn't have a defensive midfielder or they're dropping really deep. Either of those options where he's not going to get picked up and he could be lethal in that central position. Now, if you haven't already, get yourself to watching Leo's video, The Final Farewell. Legendary players who will be playing their last World Cup.